Hello, dosto. My name is Deepak, and I'm a tax code advisor. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about illegal immigration. Why? Because this is a topic that has been popping up for the last couple of days, and it's kind of interesting. So, because a lot of my clients are obviously Indians, and oftentimes we have a conversation. They are usually blaming it on Mexico or Caribbean or Africa and other countries about illegal immigration. But the stats are telling us something else. So I'm going to particularly talk about the U.S. Canada relationships in when we talk about from Indian point of view. Uh, so we know that after COVID, Canada needed a lot of um, people to get the job done. So Canada made it super easy for people to get into their country legally as well as illegally. And a lot of people crossed over and they start staying in Canada. And after a few years, when they don't need these workers anymore, and Canadians got frustrated with the lack of resources, the government of Canada woke up and said, "Oh my God, what have we done? I think we have too many people in this country." So what had happened is that we're seeing a huge increase in illegal migration of Indian nationals from Canada to the United States. And we know that we now have elected President Donald Trump, who's going to take office in January. So even on the U.S. side, things are not going to be rosy for illegal immigrants. So things are bad in Canada. Things are also going to be bad in the United States for these people. So it's just a bad time to be an illegal migrant in this area. Over 43,000 Indian migrants were detained at the U.S.-Canada border in 2024. 43,000. That's a lot of people. That's almost like 10 arrests every hour. So I'm sure some people were probably got lucky and they were able to cross over. But 43,000, my God, that's a lot of people getting caught in this net. Um, right now, Indian nationals constitute almost 60% of all arrests at the US and Canada border. 60%. So if you've been blaming, other countries for several years when it comes down to illegal migration, perhaps this stat will open your eyes and help you realize that how bad things are. Arrest of Indian migrants are now 10 times higher compared to 2 years ago. Um, and I don't think that's by accident. I think Canada is focusing a lot on illegal migration, and so is United States. So whenever there is a political will, this kind of things can happen. Right now, the estimates tells us that over 725,000 undocumented Indian migrants are living in the United States. So 725,000 people. And number could be a little bit even higher than that because this is just a government estimate. So I'm going to talk about some of the things um, these illegal migrants should really pay attention to in coming days. Number one is if you are trying to come to the United States right now and you're not planning on taking a legal pathway, then I would strongly encourage you to not give your hard-earned money to these brokers who promise you to come to the United States or Canada and live happily ever after. That is just simply not the case. Um, you know, Trump is more than likely is going to ask people to stay in Mexico if they're coming through Mexico route, and if they're coming from Canada, Trump is going to say, "Hey, stay in Canada." And Canadians not going to like that, so more than likely they are going to deport you back to India. So that's one major issue that you would have to deal with. Number two is if you try to illegally cross over from Canada or from Mexico into the United States, then there is a high likelihood that you will get caught by the immigration. And once again, that will get you in a lot of trouble as well. Third thing is some of you guys might think that, well, if I get caught, maybe I'll apply for asylum. So if you want to apply for asylum, you can't do that from anywhere. For that, you have proper port of entries. You go there and you knock on the door and you ask for help. And Trump was not that easy on people seeking asylum last time. I think in his administration, he was able to bring the asylum cases down to roughly 15,000 per year. And under the Biden administration, I think that number went up to 125 or 150,000 per year. So huge difference. So there's a very good chance that Trump is going to reduce that number back to 15, 20,000 per year as well. So I don't think that method would work for you as well. What would I recommend? A few things. Number one thing I would recommend is don't give your hard earned money to these brokers who are showing you all this rosy picture. Instead, what you probably want to do is think about starting a business. And if you don't believe that you can be successful at selling in India, you can consider selling in the United States or Canada. Now, once again, I don't do much of a business with Canada. Most of my clients are in the United States and they do business in the United States, so I can definitely advise you on that. There's so many ways to make money. So first of all, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you do come into the United States illegally. What are you going to do? You're not going to work as an engineer or doctor or some other high paying job. More than likely, you are going to do things to stay under the radar. For example, maybe you work at a restaurant or maybe a hotel or some motel or some car repair shop, or maybe you become a construction worker. So those kind of jobs. And even in those jobs, if other people are making, let's say, $40 an hour, the person who is hiring you will more than likely pay you 20 or $25 an hour. So you're going to make significantly less than other people. But just because you're making less money doesn't mean you have less cost. You still have to pay for housing, you still have to pay for your food, you still have to pay for travel. Those costs are same whether you're legal or illegal. So number one problem you're going to run in is you're just not going to have as much savings as you think you will. So what is an alternative? What can you do? Well, my recommendation would be is to start a business. Start a business, sell your product or services in the United States. I think it's just cheaper, it's easier. Um, if you want to look like a US company, I can help you set up a corporation here in the United States that is tax efficient in nature. You get a US address, US phone number, you look like a US company, and you can still do business from India. That is 100% possible. You can export stuff here. You can provide some services. You can build websites. You can provide, BPO services. You can provide tutoring services, coaching services. There's just so much you can do sitting in India and selling your services. I think a lot of people spend time and energy looking for these dealers who are hungry for your money, and then they put you in life-threatening situation, having you cross through different borders illegally, and and then they screw up your life forever. I don't know why people choose that path when you do have an easier path. If you set up a good company and learn how to do sales, learn how to do proper marketing, sitting in India, don't you think you can make money in US dollars and then spend it in Indian rupee? You'll be able to afford a big house. You can have a driver. You can have a cook. You can have a wonderful lifestyle staying in India while earning your dollars in the United States. It is quite possible. I think why people are not doing it is because of three reasons. Number one is just lack of education, because these brokers don't make many money by teaching you the legal way. They make money by teaching you the illegal way. That's number one reason. Number two, maybe you're not really good at sales and marketing. And anytime you do any kind of business, you do have to get good at sales and marketing. But the good news is this: you don't have to do it yourself. There are plenty of tutors out there. There are plenty of courses that you can take. There are plenty of people that you can talk to. So all of that is possible. More importantly, build the network. Build the network with people in the United States. You can do that on LinkedIn. You can do that on Facebook, Instagram. You can attend meetups. There are a lot of online meetups you can attend, lot of discussion calls. There are just so many ways you can set up some sort of relationship in the United States. Learn about the taxation in the United States. Learn about the business in the United States. Learn about the opportunities in the United States. You do that, you're establishing a relationship. Once you have a business set up, once you're making good money, you can maybe even consider a business visa. Right now, as of 2024, you can invest $1 million, hire a few employees who work for your business. If you're creating that job, if you're creating an economical value for this country, they will grant you a green card. There is a legal pathway using business to get into the United States. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, $1 million is too much. I can't afford that. And I understand that. If that's the case, if you cannot afford $1 million, why not start a small business from there and grow that business into $1 million business? Once you have grown that business, maybe you do buy a restaurant, maybe you do buy a hotel, motel, or some other IT company or some other medical facility. There are so many businesses that you can buy in the United States. Show them that they're producing good cash flow, and then you can come into the United States legally. Now, what about if you're in Canada? Well, my advice is the same for you. You can consider E2 visa, for example. That's a very easy one to qualify for. You should definitely look into business. I think if I were in India or Canada right now and I was thinking about coming to the United States, that's probably what I would do. I would set up a business in US, operate it, make some good money out of it, grow that business, and then once it grows to a certain point, that's when I will probably come into the country. So that would be my advice. Now, if you want to learn more about how to set up a business, uh, if you want to learn about how to do marketing, sales, operations, you want to understand the opportunities, maybe you are considering some of the established businesses in the United States and you want to have a discussion around that, you're welcome to give me a call. Just go to taxcodeadvisors.com and just book a consultation appointment with me, and I'll be happy to have that discussion with you. I hope I added some value to your life. I hope I stop you from making critical mistake. So please don't do that. Now, if you are already in the country and you are an undocumented worker and you're thinking, what should I do? So I'll offer you a few tips. Number one, make sure you file your taxes. Make sure you're filing them on time, you're paying your proper taxes, and you have a proper paper trail. Do not try to get away with that. Sometimes I talk to people and they want to pay the minimum taxes or almost no taxes. And I understand that. But imagine when you go in front of immigration one day and they see you as paying 30, 40, $50,000 in taxes every year to the US government. Don't you think you'll have a better chance of convincing them that you should be staying in this country versus if you're someone who just doesn't pay any taxes? Now, I'm not saying that you pay extra taxes. What I'm saying is do whatever you can do to earn good money in this country and pay proper taxes. It's in your best benefit. Um, so please do that. Stay out of trouble. Don't, drink and drive. Don't go to places where you can get into trouble and meet with people who are perhaps, maybe they are involved in some sort of criminal activity or whatnot. Um, uh, Money fraud. That's another one that I see quite a bit when I'm talking to people who are, or don't have proper documentation. They're sending their money left and right without any proper documentation. That can also get you in a lot of trouble as well. So once again, my name is Deepak and I'm a tax code advisor. If you want to have a detailed conversation around this, give me a call. Just go to taxcodeadvisors.com and set up a consultation appointment with me. Thank you so much for spending your last 15 minutes with me, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.